Well, here we go. Off to the big adventure. I'm headed up to a Benedictine monastery, St. John's Abbey in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and I'm going to be there somewhere between 10 to 13 days. Just kind of see how long I can do it. I don't really have any particular agenda. I mean, I guess part of me thinks I might start writing another book. I don't know. It's kind of weird, to be honest with you, to go somewhere and not know exactly what you're going to do. I'd love to be able to jump in with the Benedictine monks a little bit, but I'm at the Abbey guest house, and they stay in their own quarters, kind of in an adjacent building. But I'm sure I'm going to be able to join them for prayer and looking for some conversations and finding out what the life of a Benedictine monk is all about. Not likely that I'm going to shave my head. Actually, they don't shave their heads anyhow. I kind of like the black robes, though. I think that's kind of cool. So I don't really know exactly what I'm doing, except I believe that God has told me to take a time out from the craziness that I've allowed myself to be immersed in and find out what He may have for me as I try to get quiet and clear-headed for this period of time. So I'll let you know how it goes. Here it is. This is it. This is the Abbey at St. John's University, founded by the Benedictine monks. And we are here for a 13-day journey of what it's like to be quietly tucked aside. Wow, I can't wait. Beautiful place. You know, one of the things I'm learning is that sometimes the best use of our time is spent reading, praying, journaling, listening, walking in the woods, thinking, and resting. Yeah, I think that's the way we bring refreshment and life to our souls. All right, there's the Abbey Church across the lake, and I've been on this trail that goes around the lake, and it ends here on a point where a Benedictine chapel was built. I don't know when. We're going to try to find out more details. Let's see if we can go inside, and if the door is open. Whether or not they want people in here, I don't know. We're going to find out. Oh, I've got some leaves that blew around in here. All right, here we are. It's wide open. And it is very interesting. It's just a little room, a chapel, where you can spend time thinking and praying and meditating. Wow. And that is a statue of the Mother Mary with her quote. I don't know which gospel this is from. I won't take time to read it all. But this is when Mary was responding to the angel Gabriel when she was told she was going to have a baby. And she wasn't married. How's this going to happen? And she says, oh, my soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for He has looked with favor on the lowliness of His servant. Surely from now on all generations will call me blessed, for the Mighty One has done great things for me, and holy is His name. Well, that's a prayer that every one of us ought to be uttering. All right, this is really cool. The chapel at the Benedictine monastery. All right, I just stepped outside from this beautiful small Benedictine chapel that's located on a point across the lake from the St. John's University and the monastery itself. You can't see it right there. But I got thinking, just the Catholic way, and especially the way of Benedictines and Franciscans and other monastic brotherhoods and sisterhoods, they spend their lives going a different pathway than the rest of us. They seem to have a solemnity about their faith that it's tough for us to achieve, who are swirling about in the world. Not that these brothers and sisters don't get activated in the world. They do. They're educators, researchers, artists, all of that. Even what about the Christian brothers making brandy? I mean, they do get involved in these things, but there's something that goes so deep in their faith that's very attractive. And it's times like this where we can have a deeper appreciation for the bigness of God and the awe of God, and maybe slip away a little bit from our sometimes our shallow and trite understandings of who God is. So I'm glad I'm here, and I'm hoping that we'll all be challenged together every day to just go deeper in the majestic God that we know and that we love and that we serve. All right, we're just outside the church, and the Benedictine monks gather here 3 times a day, 7 in the morning, 12 noon, and 7 at night. And I've been able to join them in the prayer times. That's about 30 minutes, and it's a very sacred time of reading and chanting through the Psalms. It's pretty cool. But tonight, I won't be joining them. I'm actually going to sneak up behind them and try to capture what's going on. But we have to be very, very quiet. We don't want to interrupt them. So walking the trails out here at the St. John's Abbey Monastery during my little sabbatical time. And I'm thinking about legacy. And I'm thinking about legacy because St. Benedict had quite the legacy. I mean, I want you to think about this with me. He wrote the rules of for Benedictine monks. There's 73 of them, by the way. And he wrote it in 516. That's a long time ago. And we're still talking about it and still reading it. The Benedictine monks here live by the Benedictine rules. Now that is a legacy. Here's St. John's University, founded in 1856 by Benedictine monks who wanted to further education. And I got thinking, oh, that's a good shot right there. Yeah, there. Okay, I can see me better. Thinking, what in the world are you going to leave for legacy, Todd? It's not like you're not going to author a book that they're going to read, 500 years from now. You're not going to have, you're not going to really have anything to leave behind, at least at this stage in my life that I'm aware of, that would be that kind of legacy. And so just give up on that idea. If you're wondering, what's my legacy going to be? Well, it's likely it's going to be similar to mine, and that is whatever you leave behind in the people that you've invested in, right? So I think first about my kids, and then my grandkids, my friends, my family members. I think the only legacy that I can shoot for, and it's a worthwhile one, is that I bring them Jesus, and did I invest in their soul enrichment, if you will. I think that's what we got to look forward to. So I don't need to write a book, and I don't need to have them talking about me 5, 6, 7, or even 1,000 years later. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I think the real legacy to shoot for is what we leave behind in the hearts and minds of the people we love. Well, this is my 6th day here at the Benedictine Monastery at St. John's Abbey. 6 days, and I'm losing my mind. I do feel like a little wacky, just because I'm so not used to being this quiet and this disengaged for this long. It's a revelation to me that I must be an adrenaline junkie, because I like to go and be ramming and jamming and engaged in stuff. But I'm spending my time here in my little headquarters room. I do a lot of time there reading, thinking, praying, sleeping. Then I go out here to the lake, which is kind of cool because there's some great hikes in the woods, and I feel more energized when I'm off in the woods. But whoo, I know that rest for our souls is a good thing, and I know that we have to, form new disciplines in our lives like these Benedictines have done. These guys are great, by the way. I've had a chance to talk with a couple of them, and I'm so blessed and impressed with their level of loyalty, their commitment, and they don't sit around like this the whole time. They're not stuck in their little rooms like that. They're out and about, they're active, they're doing lots of stuff, but they do gather in a community, which I've been able to join them 3 times a day for prayer, 7 a.m., midday, 7 p.m. they have Mass, and this has been good, but it's different, and it tells me I've got a long ways to go before I'm comfortable with not having to do so much. Maybe you're like that too. It's like, bring on the stimulus, keep us going. And that's really that's just a preoccupation that sort of allows us to, listen to me, I kind of like run and hide from taking time to be in God's presence and taking time with ourselves and reflecting and just slowing down. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know how long I'm going to last, but I'm doing my best to open up to what God has and to listen, to pray. I do enjoy talking to God about all kinds of things. I mean, what else is there to do? Well, I got to tell you, it is very, very quiet in the woods, which is really cool. The silence here is so wonderful. And it's starting to snow. Can you see well, you can see it on my hair. It's just starting to sleet a little bit. But when I first got here to the Benedictine monastery, it was so quiet that the silence for me was like a deafening distraction. It's like I'm used to noise, stimulus, activity. And it being so quiet was at first really tough to get used to. Now that I'm quiet for a while, it's starting to take hold. I'm enjoying it. There's just something about the peacefulness in silence, and it's just good for our souls to just be quiet for a while. Quiet our mind and quiet our mouth, which is hard for me because I like to talk. But once we do that, I think we have a better chance of actually being able to listen and in the silence hear more from God. And that's my hope for me. That's my hope for you. Here's one very cool thing about being here at the Abbey. If you can count, you can keep time. Are you ready for it? Here it comes. And that would be 3 p.m. Okay, in the few days that I've been out here in the sort of monastic setting, with somewhat a lot of solitude in my life, I've become very aware of something, and I'm not happy about it. So it's time for true confessions. I am an addict. I'm serious. I'm addicted to my phone, calls and texts. I'm addicted to my computer and emails and Google searches. I'm addicted to the busyness of life. Man, I have got to have things. I got to have like a long task list of to-dos every day. I'm telling you, I'm addicted. And I know that because when these things are stripped away from me, I feel lost. So what is an addict? That's one who's really dependent on things. I just realized I'm really dependent on these things. For what? Certainly to conduct, the activities of life, but I think more so there's something that happens that's maybe filling a void. And so when you're out here, alone and you're in the woods and you don't have those things, except here I got my phone obviously because even though it's in airplane mode, but I want to record this. And I'm eager to find out ways in which some of these addictions can be broken. And I don't think I'm alone in this. You might be addicted to some things too, and you're just not being honest about it. You get alone and without these things, you'll find out. Maybe for you, it's social media. Thankfully, I'm not addicted to social media. Not yet anyhow. And which is ironic because I'm posting these on social media to feed your addictions. Oh, Lord have mercy on us. I'm so glad that He's a loving, forgiving, and empowering God. And in spite of the addictions, He brings us to places where we can recognize that our full dependency is only on Him, and that's the way I want it to stay. I hope the same is true for you. Whew, yeah, wowzer. This is day 9. Actually, it's night 9. I'll be going to bed soon, which I'm very excited about because tomorrow is day 10, and I've decided I'm heading home. I wasn't quite sure would I stay 10, 12, 13 days maybe, but feeling pretty good about hanging in there this long. In fact, I got to tell you, when I first got here, there's a certain sense of excitement and curiosity because you're dealing with something that's unfamiliar, and what you discover is that the unfamiliar can become uncomfortable, and then the uncomfortable can lead to doubts like, okay, why am I here? Was that the right thing to do, and why so long? And then the doubts really bring you to a point of decision. That's where I came a few days ago. I mean, day 5, I was like losing my mind. I had to decide, are you going to stick it out? And, I made the commitment for at least 10 days. And so I decided I'm going to stick it out. And there's lots of things that I've benefited from, even learning to do nothing, which is probably the biggest challenge I've ever faced, where I got no agenda, nobody calling on me. I got no places to go, people to see, things to do. I mean, it's like, wow, what am I doing? Well, you think, you take walks, you pray, you read, you journal, all good. Started journaling some of the things I'm learning about myself and about life in a monastery. So I benefited, even though it was tough, and I want to challenge you, whether it's a day or 5 days or 10 days, just go ahead and do it. Take some time out and find out what begins to surface, things you start to learn about yourself and your relationship with God and with others, and learn to be quiet and learn to do nothing. It's going to challenge you. And, maybe I'll be back. I don't know, but not for 10 days, no. Well, that is pretty much a wrap. This is it. I'm heading home. This is the conclusion of 10 days. It's been awesome. Just so many lessons learned while here at the Benedictine Monastery at the Abbey at St. John's. And it's just time to go now. And I'm kind of glad for that. I'm going to kind of miss it, but not really. And the last lesson that I've learned here is simply this. Monastic life is not for me. And that is okay.